Let us begin with one of the most shocking ambushes in history. The sudden strike on a peaceful harbor that awakened a sleeping giant. Early one Sunday morning, the skies darkened with hundreds of enemy aircraft, unleashing a barrage of torpedoes and bombs upon anchored battleships. One colossal vessel, a symbol of naval might, erupted in a massive fireball as its ammunition stores ignited, sending plumes of smoke skyward and claiming the lives of over 1,000 brave souls. Amid the chaos, a humble cook grabbed a machine gun and fired back at the attackers, becoming an unlikely hero whose actions inspired a nation to rally. This event propelled a reluctant power into the fray, forever altering the course of the war, shifting to the cold waters of the North Atlantic. Picture a lone behemoth of steel, a German battleship designed to terrorize convoys and strike fear into allied hearts. This floating fortress, armed with massive guns capable of hurling shells miles away, sank a venerable British battlecruiser in a matter of minutes. Its explosion so violent that only 3 survivors escaped the inferno. Yet the hunters became the hunted as relentless pursuers from the Royal Navy closed in. Aircraft from a carrier crippled the giant's steering, leaving it vulnerable to a final onslaught of torpedoes and shells. The sea claimed this titan, proving that even the mightiest can fall to coordinated courage. In the warm expanses of the Coral Sea, 2 fleets engaged in the first battle where ships never sighted each other, relying instead on wings of steel launched from flat-topped carriers. An American carrier, battered by torpedoes and flames, fought valiantly until internal explosions forced its abandonment. Its crew, displaying unyielding resolve, ensured the survival of many comrades, while thwarting an invasion that could have isolated a key ally. This clash marked a strategic draw but a moral victory, halting the enemy's southward advance and setting the stage for greater triumphs. Then came the pivotal confrontation near a tiny atoll in the Central Pacific, where intelligence and daring flipped the script. 4 Japanese carriers, the backbone of their offensive power, fell victim to daring dive bombers that struck at the perfect moment, igniting fuel and bombs on their decks. 1 American carrier paid the price, succumbing to relentless attacks. But the loss of the enemy's flat tops shattered their naval dominance, allowing the Allies to seize the initiative and begin the long push toward ultimate victory, venturing to the Mediterranean. Envision a daring nighttime raid on an Italian naval base, where biplane torpedo bombers from a British carrier swooped low over the harbor, dropping their payloads with precision. 3 battleships were crippled in their berths, their hulls torn open by underwater explosions, dealing a blow to fascist ambitions and inspiring future aerial assaults on naval targets. Back in the Pacific, amid the brutal campaign for a strategic island chain, nighttime naval duels lit up the darkness with gunfire and torpedoes. A light cruiser absorbed hit after hit from enemy shells, its decks ablaze, yet its gunners kept firing, protecting transports vital to the ground forces. In another fierce exchange, a destroyer charged headlong into a superior force, launching torpedoes that sank a heavy cruiser and disrupted the enemy's plans, all at the cost of its own survival. Consider the ingenuity behind these vessels, brilliant minds who forged weapons from necessity. A Soviet engineer crafted a submachine gun so simple and reliable that it armed millions, its rapid fire echoing across battlefields and aboard ships defending against boarders. Another innovator designed anti-tank rifles that pierced armor, adapted for naval use against small craft. Poets and writers, too, played their part, penning verses that boosted morale, like a heartfelt plea to wait for me that resonated with sailors separated from loved ones. In the vast theater of the Atlantic, submarine hunters prowled the depths, where wolf packs lurked to choke supply lines. 1 American sub, commanded by a master tactician, sank dozens of enemy ships, including a daring raid on a harbor where it surfaced to bombard trains on land. blending sea and shore warfare in audacious fashion. As the war intensified, kamikaze pilots hurled themselves at allied fleets off distant islands. A destroyer Escort withstood wave after wave of suicide dives, its anti-aircraft guns blazing, emerging scarred but afloat. A testament to engineering and crew tenacity, the largest battleship ever built. A Japanese colossus with guns that could outrange any foe met its end in a desperate sortie. Swarms of aircraft from multiple carriers pelted it with bombs and torpedoes, causing catastrophic floods and explosions that sent it to the bottom with thousands aboard. Tragedy struck in the war's waning days when a cruiser, fresh from a secret mission delivering components for a world-changing weapon, fell prey to a submarine's torpedoes. Hundreds perished in the initial blasts, and survivors faced days adrift, battling sharks and thirst in a harrowing ordeal that tested human endurance. Heroes emerged from every corner. A destroyer captain who ordered his ship to charge battleships many times its size, buying time for carriers to escape. His vessel, riddled with shells, went down fighting, its legacy one of selfless sacrifice. In European waters, evacuations under fire saved armies from annihilation. Destroyers braved bombs and torpedoes to ferry soldiers from beaches, some sinking in the process but enabling a future comeback. Pocket battleships roamed the South Atlantic, preying on merchantmen until cornered by a trio of cruisers. In a running battle, the raider was damaged beyond repair, its crew scuttling it to avoid capture, marking an early Allied success. Submarines played shadowy roles, like one that infiltrated enemy waters to sink carriers and tankers, only to be lost to its own errant torpedo in a twist of fate. As invasions loomed, battleships provided thunderous support, their massive salvos pulverizing defenses on Normandy's shores. One veteran ship, scarred from prior battles, anchored close to bombarded pillboxes, its accuracy saving countless lives on the beaches. Innovators back home revolutionized warfare. Chemists devised incendiary mixtures for makeshift bombs, while engineers built radio-controlled explosives that detonated under enemy tanks or ships. Literary giants captured the human spirit, writing epics of frontline valor that immortalized ordinary men as heroes. Their words broadcast to uplift spirits amid the din of war. Documentarians risked life and limb to film the chaos, their reels showing the world the true face of conflict. From besieged cities to naval clashes, actors portrayed stirring tales in films that rallied the home front, their performances evoking patriotism and resolve. Sculptors later honored the fallen with towering monuments, like a mother calling her sons to arms, symbolizing sacrifice. Now delve deeper into a specific tale of valor, a destroyer Escort, lead of its class, thrust into a maelstrom against a fleet led by the mightiest battleship afloat. Outnumbered and outgunned, this plucky vessel and its sisters formed a desperate shield for vulnerable carriers. With smoke billowing to conceal their charges, they charged forth, firing torpedoes and guns in a David versus Goliath stand. The enemy, confused and harried by aircraft and relentless attacks, withdrew, sparing an invasion force from disaster. This ship's crew, through cunning and bravery, turned certain defeat into improbable survival, earning accolades for their unit. Post-war, such vessels transitioned to training roles, imparting lessons to new generations before meeting fates as targets in exercises. Their hulls serving one last time, these stories weave a tapestry of human ingenuity, courage, and tragedy. From the drawing boards of designers who crafted tanks on water to the decks where sailors faced the abyss, naval warfare defined an era. Heroes like the captain who steered his sub to record sinkings, or the poet whose lines sustained hope, remind us of the multifaceted fight. Imagine the tension aboard a carrier as planes launch into uncertain skies, or the silence broken by sonar pings hunting submerged threats. Each vessel, from sleek destroyers to lumbering transports, carried dreams of peace amid the storm. In the Arctic convoys, ships battled not just foes but nature's fury, towering waves, blinding snow, and lurking subs. One convoy saw a carrier torpedoed, its planes lost to the frigid sea, yet the survivors pressed on, delivering vital aid. Mediterranean campaigns featured daring raids, like commandos storming aboard enemy ships to sabotage. Blending espionage with naval might, Pacific atolls became graveyards for fleets, where coral reefs claimed as many victims as gunfire. Engineers innovated floating docks, repair ships that mended wounds at sea, keeping fleets operational far from home. Medical teams aboard hospital ships tended the wounded under flags of mercy. Often targeted despite conventions, codebreakers ashore deciphered enemy plans, enabling ambushes that sank carriers before they struck. Aviation pioneers adapted land planes for sea, revolutionizing carrier operations with angled decks and catapults. Submarine aces tallied impressive tallies, their silent service crucial to starving enemy industries. Amphibious assaults required specialized landing craft, designed by visionaries to beach troops under fire. Radar operators scanned horizons, their blips for warning attacks, turning night into day for defense. Torpedo developers refined weapons that struck below the waterline, invisible until impact. Armorers loaded shells with precision, each round a potential game-changer. Navigators charted courses through minefields, their calculations defying odds. Signalmen flashed messages in code, coordinating fleets across miles. Cooks sustained morale with hot meals amid rolling seas. Chaplains offered solace in the face of mortality, every role intertwined. In the Grand Naval Symphony. As the war drew to a close, surrender ceremonies aboard battleships formalized peace, their decks witnessing history's pivot. Legacies endure, museums house relics, veterans share tales, and films recreate epics. The sea, eternal witness, holds secrets of sunken hulls, where marine life claims rusted giants. Reflect on how these events shaped our world, fostering alliances and technologies that persist, from the first salvo to the last. Naval prowess decided destinies. This narrative captures but a fraction of the drama, inviting deeper exploration into the annals of maritime valor. Yet, the human element shines brightest. Individuals who, against insurmountable challenges, prevailed through wit, will, and camaraderie. One such story involves a light cruiser in a nocturnal melee, its bridge shattered, captain fallen. Yet junior officers rallied to repel boarders and limp home. Another, a submarine that evaded depth charges for hours, its crew in stifling heat, emerging to strike back. Carriers evolved from experiments to queens of the sea, their air wings extending reach beyond horizons. Battleships, once kings, yielded to aviation's rise, their guns silenced by progress. Destroyers, workhorses screened fleets, hunted subs, and rescued downed pilots. Escorts protected convoys, their depth charges sending foes to watery graves. PT boats, nimble wasps, stung larger prey with torpedoes in coastal skirmishes. Mine layers sowed fields of death, while sweepers cleared paths. Auxiliaries fueled and supplied. Unsung heroes of logistics. Each type contributed uniquely. Inventors like the one who perfected jet engines, though late for the war, paved future paths. Radar pioneers bounced waves off targets, revolutionizing detection. Sonar listened to the deep, unveiling hidden dangers. Cryptographers broke enigmas, reading enemy minds. Atomic scientists harnessed stars' power, ending the conflict abruptly, but focus on the sea, where monsoons raged and typhoons scattered fleets. One storm wrecked more ships than battles. Nature's impartial fury, survival tales abound. Castaways on rafts, signaling for rescue. Poes endured captivity aboard hell ships, Their fortitude inspiring. Women serve too. In auxiliary roles, decoding, nursing, building. Diversity strengthened forces. Breaking barriers. Allied cooperation, shared designs. Joint operations. Lend-Lease ships bolstered arsenals. Post-battle. Salvage operations recovered wrecks, recycling steel for peace. Environmental impacts lingered. Oil spills poisoning waters. Memorials at sea mark resting places. Divers explore relics. History underwater. Books chronicle exploits. From admiral strategies to seamen's diaries, films dramatize, bringing visuals to life. Games simulate. Educating through interaction. The war's naval chapter teaches resilience, innovation, unity.